We fair children, lost and wild. Dad punishes us, each and every child. But we are feral children, we thrive on chaos. Dad may try to punish us, he will never tame us. Hell in the cell, hell in the cell. It's Dad's test of might. All kids will go in to fight. There is only one survivor. Bring a shiver, a screwdriver. Punishment is kinetic dance. Leotards moving in a trance. It's the feral children's penance, watching camel toes prance. My Auntie Deb is a whore. We are feral children, lost and wild. Dad punishes us, each and every child. But we are feral children, we thrive on chaos. Dad may try to punish us, he will never tame us. My Auntie Deb is a fucking whore. Hell in the cell, hell in the cell. Test of might. All kids will go in to fight. There is only one survivor. Bring a shiver, a screwdriver. Punishment is kinetic dance. Leotards moving in a trance. It's the feral children's penance, watching camel toes prance. Mommy fucking Deb is a goddamn whore. But we are feral children, we thrive on chaos. Dad may try to punish us, he will never tame us.
Jesus Christ, Melissa. How are you guys doing today? Your sister Melissa is hilarious. Oh God, more is playing. I'm going to put her link, obviously, in the description. I'm sorry if I'm being quiet. Let me see how loud I'm being in the house. Hold on, let me see. This is how I'm normally talking. Okay, that's not too loud. Hugin's sleeping. And Dad's boyfriend is sleeping. I'm having major allergies today, so I apologize if I'm rubbing my eye. Howdy from San Antonio. Love that song. Oh, howdy. Also from San Antonio. Not there now, but grew up there. Absolutely love it. Yeah, Melissa's so fucking talented, aka Turd Ferguson. Great theme song. Absolutely love it. The Hoogs. I am awake. I'm very tired. I'm not used to being up in the day. It is too fucking bright. And as fall approaches, I will be up in the day more because I like the weather. But today it's just hot and bright. Oh my God. Do you guys get like leaky eyes and shit? When, I mean, obviously there's like a hurricane and a bunch of shit going on. So everyone's going to be getting sick. But oh my God. I don't know if it's because I was flying recently or what, but I have just, it's been bad. My eyes have been watering like crazy. I have PTSD from reading that book in the 9th grade. What? Lord of the Flies? Is that what that was? Yeah, Melissa is a genius. Hoogs, howdy Sibs. Happy early afternoon, Dad and Sibs. Hey, Mia and Ernie. Turd. Yes, absolutely turd. Absolutely turd all the way. Turd today, turd forever. Her songs get stuck in my head and I sing them out loud. They're very good. They're very good. I'm glad to see myself up and I'm glad to see you guys. I like seeing the day kids and the night kids. And it's kind of funny from your perspective. I don't know if you can notice it, but it's like a totally different group in the day than at night. And I've been trying to figure out which one of you is the most feral. And I don't know if I can pick. You're both fucking unhinged. You're both mentally ill and unhinged. And I absolutely love it. Your eyes get leaky. This one is, it's just killing me, Smalls. It's killing me. All day yesterday, my left eye watered all day. Yeah, my leaky eyes make your eyes leak. Well, now all of our eyes are leaking. I take lots of allergy meds too. One of these days they're not going to work. Then what? Then what? It is Lord of the Flies. My right eye is screaming this morning. Right? Everyone's got one good eye. You know how like most people have one big tit, one short or little tit? You know what I mean? One's just bigger than the other. I call them the Mary Kate and the Ashley, and I always joke that one's fat. I mean, they're both skinny, but you know, you get the joke. Anyways, I was thinking about it, and it's like, man, anytime we have two of anything on our body, one of them is always like a little weird, right? Like two eyes. Everyone's got like one ear that's a little bigger, one leg it's a little bit, This toe looks weird. I don't know. It's really weird when people are asymmetrical. Or should I say symmetrical? I don't know. I'm so tired. I'm not used to being up in the day, taking my lunch break and spending it here. Well, thank you for spending that with us, with all the feral kids. You're actually here and your eyes are watering. Excellent. So we're long and short labia. Yes, exactly, Pat. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I was talking about when one of us has a long labia and a short one. It's like when your pink sock is too long. No, it's too early for this shit. I told you, you're a different kind of feral in the day. Tits. It's just tits. Someone get a screen grab of this for Amy. She's going to want that for later. Wonky boobs. Absolutely. Got one wonky eye, one wonky boob. The hardest part is touching the eye once it starts. It's usually pollen that gets in there. Same, dude. And the worst is when have you ever done this? I feel like other people have. You use a napkin or a paper towel to wipe your eye, right? And it's still bothering you. And it's like, well, I've dabbed it. I've done everything I can, And then you go tear another piece of the paper towel. And when you do, you notice in the light, usually, like if you have a window open, you see all this dust fly up as you tear it and you go, oh, fuck. I'm not talking like dirt dust. I'm talking like the paper towel, that like the little white flecks. And it's like, oh, maybe that's the shit that's gathering in my eye. God, it's frustrating. We're going to end up being our own demise, people. Pat's laughing. Woot, middle of the day. My day at work just got so much better. Oh my God. I'm so excited to come with you guys to work today. I don't start my next contract for a little bit. I have one that I kind of have to end that I got to wrap up, but I got to figure something out to do next. Otherwise, I'm going to be hanging out with you guys at your work all day. Could you imagine bring your dad to work? I'm just there all the time. What you doing, Scout? What you doing over there in your cubicle? We could be the most feral because any bad kid knows they can manipulate dad. That is true. You're very manipulative. Beth Hammer says, without nipples, tits are pointless. God damn it, Beth Hammer. You're so hilarious. Yes, truth, Amy. Absolutely, dude. You can manipulate me with food too. Your dad's very manipulatable. That's hard to say. Speaking of wonky tits, scheduled my mammogram yesterday. Get them smashed. Get them smashed. Good for you, Jill. I'm really scared they're gonna smash mine and stuff's just gonna shoot out. I'm so scared of that. Like fucking how Katy Perry has the whipped cream, just something's gonna shoot out of there. I'm gonna be like, my bad. You're at work trying not to work. Just tell them you have diarrhea. No one wants to hear about it. They'll just go, okay. Hubby uses Pat-a-day eye drops for allergies. They really help. Yeah, and they don't have the preservatives in them. Would love that. Pat-a-day is very expensive. You know that this is a fact. One box of Pat-a-day at Walgreens costs the same to rent a room in the Excalibur Hotel. Isn't that fascinating? In Vegas. It's take your dad to work day. Fat fun bags without nips is just dumb. Listen, we don't want to shit on the nipless, okay? I'm sure not having nipples is just as good as having nipples. I mean, I don't even do anything with mine. They just sit there. Those hurt. Okay. Me too. I'm easily influenced by marketing. Same. Just tell them you're unwell. Just say I have diarrhea. I'm unwell. I tell my boyfriend that all the time. Just tell them you shit your pants and need to go. Yeah, they're not going to be like, prove it. Show me the diarrhea streaming out of your asshole. Otherwise, you don't get to go home. It's my husband's office and we are self-employed. Those sick excuses don't work. Oh, fuck. Tell him you're on your period. Pat-a-day is $14. Oh, really? It's cheap on Amazon? I never even think to Amazon like medication and stuff. I'm just like, Walgreens is right there. That's actually a good idea. I could prepare. Maybe you're onto something, Rachel. Ernie, me too, high five. Or a UTI. You said that too excited. Talking about your UTI a little too excited today. I have a recurring nightmare. My tits are getting smashed and they smash into dust. Okay. You know, this might be the first time I'm speechless. Now I'm scared of that too. Hey, you're welcome, turd. You're welcome. You hear the smashing hearts after? Yeah, it does. If you don't have nips, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm live at work, and what a way to introduce you to my office. Hey, good morning, office. It's Dad. Listen, Turd, where's Turd? Turd, you're welcome. Turd made that song for all children. If you liked it, it is a banger. Everybody really likes it. I wanted to come on today because I wanted to continue with the Jason Landry case. And I thought, what better way to do that than to continue with where we left off last night, just cold turkey. Let's just go straight into it, right? We left off looking at some of the raw footage. If you don't know about the Jason Landry case, I'm going to give you a quick couple of like short news videos to watch it's going to get you caught up. And then we are going to look at the released body footage, the body cam footage. We're going to talk about it. All right. So if you haven't seen it yet, let's get you caught up here. Ready? Let's go.
Newly released videos and evidence in the case of missing Texas State student Jason Landry.
The 21-year-old disappeared in December of 2020 while heading home to Missouri City from San Marcos for winter break. Our Matt Doherty has been going through the hours of video evidence that was released today. Matt.
The case has garnered international attention. After more than a year of searching, investigators are now releasing the bulk of the case. However, they're still calling it a mystery.
I just come up on a vehicle that's in a ditch.
For the first time, we're hearing the minutes when the mystery began. A volunteer firefighter calls 911 after spotting a wrecked car off a remote dirt road.
Did you find the driver? I have not. I went up and down Salt Flat.
Body camera video shows when the state trooper arrives about an hour later.
Left the keys in there and it's all locked up.
Underwear has got blood on it, and I didn't see him anywhere.
Probably some college kid.
That's what I was thinking.
In the backpack is a wallet containing the driver's license of 21-year-old Jason Landry.
Hello?
Yes, good morning, Mrs. Landry.
The trooper makes the call that no parent ever wants to get.
I suspect Jason may have been driving this vehicle. However, we're working on trying to locate him, and I fear that he may be on some type of, substance. The reason being is because I did find some narcotics in his backpack.
As Jason's car was getting towed, his father was on his way from Houston. The videos.
This is a great point, Turd. And did you notice what the cop said when he called the mom? He said, I might have found some narcotics in his backpack. This was 2020. This is very close to Austin, where it is not considered the same. In fact, it is decriminalized here. And you can possess it up to, I believe, a quarter pound. But where they are, which is about an hour away, not cool to have. In fact, it is considered a narcotic and they take it extremely seriously. So I do believe that statement was a bit deceptive, but according to law enforcement in this part of the state, it is accurately described as a narcotic. So it just kind of depends on where you are.
I did find some narcotics in his backpack.
As Jason's car was getting towed, his father was on his way from Houston. The videos Pastor Kent Landry took as the sun was rising are included.
By the way, his dad is an ex-criminal defense attorney who became a pastor. Very nice guy. Looks a lot like the comic Vic Henley. A lot like him. Relentlessly searching for his son. Miss Parks accurately pointed out last night that it's kind of like the Daniel Robinson case. Very similar with how seriously the dad is taking this, as he should, He's been actively searching for his kid for a long time and advocating because, as many think, this was kind of a piss poor job by law enforcement. Just my opinion, but also a lot of others. He was traveling, by the way, back home in the Missouri City area, which is Houston, from San Marcos, Texas State University. He was going through Lulling, Texas, when his car pinged at an intersection. It was the last digital footprint of his. He was on Snapchat, I believe, and made a call. Then it veered off onto a road called Salt Flat Road. I'm going to show you a map later, but let's keep catching up.
In the files released by the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office today.
And this is his flip-flops.
We spoke with Landry about the status of the investigation and the case details that were released.
It seems to me that they're saying, well, this is just a stupid college kid who does stupid college kid stuff, like smoke marijuana. So what? He doesn't need to be found. We don't have to work hard to find him. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
In the findings from the sheriff's office are some of the videos, messages, and
Also, last night we discussed how the police released a lot of this personal footage of Jason to the news media and to the public without telling his parents first. So basically, imagine if you're the parents and you're constantly trying to get case updates, and then the police release it to the media instead of you, the evidence. This was very irritating for them, I'm sure. Simultaneously, repeatedly saying that someone has narcotics on them when it's just pot is not only deceptive, but some people might think that looks bad. They might look at narcotics as much stronger and see him as like a degenerate or something. It might make people not care as much about his case. That's the way the family sees it. So, don't call my kid that. And yeah, I can see where they're coming from. Also, he did strip his clothes off. You saw a little bit of blood on the boxers there. Remember, we said that there was blood in his boxers. You can see exactly how much. There was stuff strewn around the road. His gaming console, his backpack, a fish in a bag, and a live fish at one point in a little bag. He wrecked his car on this dirt road, and within an hour, the car was found. His clothes were on the ground. There was a little blood in his boxers. His shoes were left behind. His phone, everything. The lights were on. Kind of reminds me a lot like the scene how it was left of the Beth Ellen Vincent case, although she was found stabbed, but very similar circumstance. Car still on the side of the road. The difference is hers wasn't wrecked. It does remind me a lot of Maura Murray. Wrecked car, pulled over, still technically operable, but they're gone and their stuff is all left behind. It's very strange.
Are included in the files released by the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office today.
And this is his flip-flops.
We spoke with Landry about the status of the investigation and the case details that were released.
It seems to me that they're saying, well, this.
Did you see that? I'm going to go back a little bit more. I'm not trying to be morbid. I just want people to see, because I think when people saw or heard, blood in his boxers, they assumed, rumors were flying. You know what I mean? When this first happened, this was 2020, December. It was 20 something degrees outside. It was dark. He ended up wrecking, they believe, a little bit around midnight. And then within 30 minutes, I believe, to an hour, the car was found. So it was the evening of the 13th, early morning of the 14th. And this is an example of the blood spot. So just in case you were wondering, they weren't drenched in blood. That could be important for perspective. Let's keep going.
That they're saying, well, this is just a stupid college kid who does stupid college kid stuff, like smoke marijuana. So what? He doesn't need to be found. We don't have to work hard to find him. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
In the findings from the sheriff's office are some of the videos, messages, and Snapchats Jason shared with his friends the night he disappeared. They include images and talk of marijuana.
I know the parents are not happy with us right now.
We spoke with lead investigator Captain Jeff Ferry with the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office.
Also, he was, by all accounts, just on marijuana. I'll just, save you the speculation. He was very into pot. He smoked all kinds. He smoked shitty swag from across the border. He smoked the good shit from other states. he did talk a lot about, I believe, like hallucinogenics and stuff like that. But I don't think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think he was found with any actual narcotics, like in pill form or anything like that. He seems to actually be very much your typical college pothead in Texas. He reminds me of all my friends from high school. So, yeah, down to the slide-on shoes, the contents of his backpack, the Xbox, all of it makes sense to me.
This afternoon.
I don't want to tear the kid down when he smokes weed.
No, I
you
don't
know?
think it is.
It's not the worst thing you can be doing.
Nonetheless, Captain Ferry says the sheriff's office determined it was important.
The blood was just a drop on the top of his boxers. He did get in a major car accident though, and then take them off. So it's likely that it could be from like some sort of head injury.
The public knows almost everything they do about the case.
When we look at the totality of things, it really paints a picture on almost a crisis, an internal crisis that Jason's dealing with. And so, yeah, it absolutely is relevant in my opinion.
He thinks there's absolutely zero evidence of anything other than Jason wandered off and we haven't found his body. After over a year, shouldn't you at least consider other possibilities?
We have to go in the direction the evidence takes us, whether we like it or not. No doubt, again, this is
Yes, I do believe it is the waistband part of his boxers.
a tragedy, but it's not a crime.
In Houston, I'm Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
It's been over 2 years and still no sign of Jason Landry, Texas State University student who disappeared in December of 2020.
You know what, Calamity, and isn't it odd that kind of all of this this and Caleb Harris's case very similar in a way, you know, just same age range, up and disappeared, kind of outed by media for like what some would consider a taboo lifestyle, but it's really not. It's just like socially accepted already. Kind of both parents being pastors, the New Braunfels area specifically, growing up or going to school there. It's all just very interesting to me. Then you have to consider, what is it, the Brandon Lawson case up in North Texas, very similar to this. Miss Parks brought up Daniel Robinson, also extremely, if not the exact same as this, other than one's going to work and one's, you know, going home for Christmas break. And then like Moore Murray, also very similar to this. It's very remarkable how many abandoned vehicle cases there are. But then you have to consider the stripping element, like his clothes being found or his stuff being found. That matches a bunch of different cases also. So it's just, you know, I think, what did they call it? Paradoxical undressing. We talked about that last night. We've talked about that and speculated on that with Shannon's case. I do wonder if a head injury could have led to that. Some people also brought up hypothermia. It was in the 20s, I believe, that night. So let's keep watching.
Landry's wrecked car was found abandoned in Luling, Texas. No one has seen or heard from him since then.
There are people out there like myself that want to help the Landry family. So we have all come together to search and find Jason, to bring Jason home.
The group says 2 years is too long.
Every time we come out here, we learn something new. We learn new techniques. We learn how to make it better. We're a group of people that comes from all over Texas, all walks of life, all different ages.
This weekend, the volunteer search group walked over 13 miles searching for any sign of Landry. The team brought in boots on ground searchers and human remains detection dogs.
For instance, if one of the dogs shows interest in an area, they'll radio to us and we'll get a bunch of team members and go out and we'll search. We'll look in that area. So every time we feel like we get a little bit closer, it gives us more and more hope and more energy. It revitalizes us. And again, we won't stop.
Catherine and Cindy have been searching for Landry since he disappeared.
We came together because God brought us, each one of us together. There is no doubt about that. God brought us together.
Yeah, so Calamity, where he ended up, it's not really a well. I think that the news and a lot of different creators have made it out to be like this mystery facility. They can't quite understand it. It's basically like a water reclamation facility. It's for water filtration, but it's also for, I believe, filtering out dirty water to reclaim and use. I believe that's what that is. There are 2 of those on that beach. What I think is interesting about Caleb Harris is the proximity of his phone to that place, and the stuff that was happening on Reddit. And I'm very shocked that they have not tracked down, again, using geofencing, anybody, especially since Secret Service was working on it. It makes no sense to me. I have no idea why there is no explanation either. I would imagine it could have been maybe some sort of hookup or meetup gone awry, especially because he wasn't wearing his shoes, and there were multiple posts on that page discussing, you don't even have to put your shoes on. You can just get in the car and eat, from multiple people. So that's like a common practice there, especially cruising through the Oso Bay hike and bike trail area. The wetlands, the preserves, if you will. So it's just, yeah, I don't think it's impossible that he ended up there. But I do think it's impossible for him to end up there on foot. That just makes no sense. I think someone drove him there, and then maybe I don't know. I don't know if someone put him in there, and hurt him and then tossed him in there, or if they took him there to smoke and then hurt him. But that's a weird one. Caleb Harris, we will talk about in the future. But this is this area where Jason went missing, very, very close proximity to where Caleb grew up and where his family was. And also where the shooter of our church grew up. Like, it's really crazy how much crime has kind of sprung from or around the New Braunfels, San Marcos area in recent years. Especially like national stories. But let's keep going.
There's a lot of good people here.
The GoFundMe page for Jason Landry's search has raised additional funds to help the search, and the group was able to double the reward.
All the people that came together and donated to that GoFundMe.
See, I wonder if he was going down Salt Flat Road to go pick up from someone, and if maybe something like that could have happened. But also, I don't even think that the need for the fentanyl is there. Really, like, I think that he could have just gotten too high. It was late at night. He's probably tired. He might have veered off the road, and I can tell you from experience, all those roads look alike. He could have realized, oh shit, I'm not on 35, and then he went to turn around and spun out and wrecked his car. Head injury, gets out of the car, paradoxical undressing, wanders into the woods. There is a phone call that is in one of these reports. Hopefully they'll play it soon, where someone within a few miles calls and says there's a naked guy. I definitely think that was him. I'm not sure where they stand on that, honestly, because you don't hear much about the case after that, or any real updates beyond what we know, which is nothing. So let's keep going.
Shared that GoFundMe. They are a part of this. Each and every one of those people.
If anyone has any information on Jason Landry's whereabouts, contact the Texas Attorney General office. And Luling, Jessica Rivera, Fox 7 Austin News.
It's hard to wrap words around.
People don't know what to say to us, and we've learned and understand that.
Your deepest fear.
It touches all of us, kind of at our deepest place. It's the nightmare of any parent. The worst thing is not knowing.
Not knowing what happened to Kent Landry's son, Jason.
Jason is just vanished.
Tulita Copeland is a retired FBI agent. A private investigator, she now volunteers to search for missing people like Jason.
Jason Landry appeared to have been packing to head home for the Christmas holidays.
Cell phone activity indicates the 21-year-old Texas State student left his San Marcos apartment around 11 p.m. on December 13th, 2020. He was
So yes, like that, but also in Texas, there's quite a few of them that will turn your
Chatted home
sorry, they'll turn your shit and your pee-pee into drinkable water. I know it's crazy.
to Missouri City, a 2.5-hour drive.
This is the Texas State student from San Marcos. This is him. That's Jason Landry. The Corpus Christi, Texas A&M student was Caleb Harris. Jason Landry went to school in the area where Caleb Harris grew up, and Caleb Harris went to school in Corpus, but grew up in New Braunfels, which is right next to San Marcos.
Law enforcement has been able to track his.
But by the way, Jason went to San Marcos, which was very, very close. I mean, literally Lulling is in between that and Houston, basically.
Movements through Luling and switches from Jason using the Waze map app.
Yeah, that's what a sewage lift station is. Pretty much the same thing. It's basically a reclaim. It's going to reclaim your shit and piss and turn it into drinkable water.
To Jason using Snapchat, at which point the phone is no longer pinging. We know that Jason is using the Snapchat.
Also, just like Caleb Harris, the last ping to his last location was Snapchat.
App at approximately 12:31 midnight, and this will be on the morning.
Also, I should answer this. What is in the water there? Actually, it's fantastic water. Well, if you're talking about this area, it's Aquarina Springs, so it's fantastic water. There's some limestone. Other than that, down in Corpus, it's fucking Corpus White's Oso Bay, dude. It literally is sulfur. It's fucking stanky.
Morning of the 14th of December, Jason's phone stops pinging completely.
A volunteer firefighter found Jason's car wrecked
big.
on Salt Flat Road. Its lights still on.
Also, do you see how the car is? He either veered off and ended up crashing into this barbed wire fence. To me, it looks like he tried to do a turnaround, miscalculated, because if he had veered off, I think he would have flipped. Because he didn't flip, that makes me think that he was trying to do a turnaround.
On.
After that, it is
Also, I don't think he went this far for a hookup. I think he either got lost. But trust me, when you've driven back home from school like a lot, especially out in this area, and when you grow up in this area, it's like, you know, when a road is not the road you're supposed to be on. But in Lulling and in a lot of these small towns, some of these roads do look like, and he was 21. He'd been driving back and forth for what, a semester, maybe a year and a half. We don't know. There is a chance, if he's fucked up, if he's stoned, that, yeah, he could have gotten a little fucked up in his directions. I think that he wrecked out, likely turning around, realizing I'm on the wrong road. I also wonder, because he was Snapchatting someone, who that was. And if he was going to meet someone out there to maybe pick up before he went home for the holidays. Now, he did have weed on him. He had pre-rolls. He had a bag. He had, you know, I think he may have even had a bong. I don't remember. But it's also, it's not really surprising that he might go try to pick out something else. I do also wonder if he was going mushroom hunting on the way. Because cows, farms, that area, that season, that's when people go pick mushrooms. He seems like, I mean, this is no offense. It's just, he seems like the type of dude that might do that, you know? Fair enough. At one point in time, we all were that type of dude. I do wonder if he attempted that and then gave up. I don't know. Let's keep going.
Complete mystery. There is no sign of Jason.
A highway patrol trooper had Jason's car towed. Took his backpack, holding it.
Also, yes, he was definitely partying before, as you can see by a lot of this. And see, he like rolled stuff for a road trip, right? Sounds crazy, but Texas stoner, his age. Just judging by this is probably 2 days worth of supply for him. So he might have been getting more. Who knows?
His wallet and a few joints and left.
I saw deer, 3 different sets of deer ran by.
That's what also spooks me. This is how I've gotten into so many accidents because of this. Deer running out on the road is exactly how you end up wrecking your car on a dirt road at night.
Coyotes ran by, and I didn't see another car, another person.
Hours later, Kent Landry found his way to Salt Flat Road. It was empty and dark.
I kept expecting any moment to see Jason.
The clothes Jason had been wearing, his shoes, even his underwear, were scattered throughout the street. It was 36 degrees.
So I found this fish. I found where the accident was, and I'm the only one who took pictures or video of that.
At the impound lot, Jason's cell phone still sat in his car. No one was searching for him.
I don't know.
They didn't even pull his cell phone out of his car at the impound lot until it was insisted upon. I think it took like 2 or 3 years for them to fully even agree to geofence that shit or to get it done. This is the perfect example of piss poor response.
As a lawyer, I can tell you that normally you better safe than sorry. It's better to have too much in evidence than not enough in evidence.
More than 100 days have passed without any real leads. Interviews and searches have come up empty.
If someone knows something,
YouTube user, when you say it took 3 days, do you mean like to kind of come to terms with what had happened? Like, do you think he could have been maybe in a fugue state for a little bit? Because I also wonder about that. I also had a head injury after a traumatic situation, and I kept repeating it to myself so I wouldn't forget it, but it was hard to get out of that loop, if that makes sense.
we desperately want to know what happened with our boy.
Investigators now hoping to get that answer with a geofence warrant,
which is basically a box around the vehicle accident. And we can ask, tell us what other cell phones were in that area at that time.
Which, by the way, they could easily do for the Missy Bevers case as well. For this case, these are prime cases for that sort of thing. 100%. Shit, even more Murray.
You've been out there, it's the middle of nowhere. In that hour window, it may very well be possible.
Yeah, and the swimming pig, dude. Remember the swimming pig, Clam? Aquarina Springs had a famous pig that swims.
That there's not another person in that box except Jason and whoever did whatever they did, whoever else was involved in this case.
Shannon Ryan, Fox 7 Austin News.
Also, I need to go back because were his airbags fully deployed? I
It's
think they
hard
were.
to.
We're in that area.
See this.
Back holding his wallet and a few joints and left.
I found this fish.
So that's the cup, and there was a bag, a plastic bag in it that had a fish, a live
found where the accident
that I believe he passed
Sat in
away.
his car. No
It was
one
live.
was searching for him.
I don't know.
Jason's cell phone still sat in his
Jesus.
car. No one was searching for him.
I don't know. I have too much in evidence.
Here we go. He had just gotten his inspection done. This is interesting. I don't recall if the airbags were deployed.
Any real lead.
You would think they were deployed, but if they were, that means he likely got smacked in the face pretty hard.
Interviews and searches have come up empty.
If someone knows something, we desperately want to know what happened with our boy.
Investigators now hoping to get that answer with a geofence warrant,
which is basically a box around the vehicle accident. And we can ask, tell us what other cell phones were in that area at that time.
You've been out there, it's the middle of nowhere.
Okay, local wildlife out there. There are coyotes. There are feral pigs, aka you kids. Fucking nutbags. Now there's feral hogs, wild hogs. They do get massive. Fucking massive as fuck. There's a shitload of deer. Like a shitload of deer. They're like New York rats in Texas. Just a fuckload of deer. There have been mountain lions and bobcats reported out in the hill country and out in those parts. In some areas there's buffalo, there's emus. But as far as wild animals, it's gonna be mainly like hogs and coyotes. Rattlesnakes are a huge worry. Rattlesnakes are a big one. Also a lot of owls. But yeah, that's pretty much and then fucking bugs, dude, and spiders.
In that hour window, it may very well be possible that there's not another person in that box except Jason and
Hello, curious
whoever
one.
did whatever they did, whoever else was involved in this case.
Shannon Ryan, Fox 7 Austin News.
They're literally angels walking on earth, because I can't believe, having never met him, how passionately they have given to this case for 2 years now.
It touches all of us, kind of at our deepest place. It's the nightmare of any parent.
Jason's family expressing gratitude for all the people.
I just want to pause on this. Fuck yes, they did. You can kind of see the direction they were going. The good old boys in Caldwell don't give a fuck none about anybody the second you've got anything on your record unless you are related to them. It's fucking wild.
Who haven't given up hope, and that hope is just as strong today.
Yes, there are, and they were going to plug some of those holes actually around that time, and there were workers there in the morning to plug some old railroad holes and basically like dig and cover up this, like, I don't know how to explain them, but they're like these old railroad things that they were going to do construction on at 7 in the morning. And none of them reported to see Jason, but there are some theories on the Facebook page that have been discussed at length about the possibility that these railroad workers, or these people who were there to do this construction, what they were doing, how big the situation was, the timing. This one woman, Asha, has been pretty up to date on everything. She made a post that said this. I'm just going to read it to you. I'm going to share some information that many of you may not know. In 2020, the Railroad Commission signed contracts to have abandoned wells plugged. So I think that was the oil wells, not the rail. I didn't understand it at first. It was a $3 million contract. So that was a very focused objective for 2020. The pond where Jason's scent was picked up had wells that were being plugged. There's no way that Jason could have stayed. Oh, so it was in the pond, the wells in the pond. Okay, that's spooky dooky. There's no way Jason could have stayed there overnight. He had to be gone by 7 o'clock in the morning because the next crew was coming into work by 7 a.m. You are free to speculate on why or why not. This may be of importance. Okay, I see where she's going here. So I think in this sense, she is making it a point to say that there are ponds in the area that were getting plugged. They used to drain these ponds. They call them tanks. Some of them have turbines in them. Some of them not that big. Some of them it's a siphoning project. I do wonder if they checked any of the local tanks or wells. But they do make it a point to say that there's no way he could have stayed there overnight. So, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that means. Like, is she inferring nefarious shit or saying that he couldn't have done that? Very interesting stuff. I want to keep going because I want to get to the part where they talk about the naked guy.
We feel like as citizens, we want to do what we can to bring closer to the family. And so we can't give up. We don't want to give up. We will continue to look for Jason until Jason is found.
Catherine Shellman is the founder of the Jason Landry search team. She was drawn to his case because her own daughter, Tiffany Perry, was a Texas State student about to graduate. She says she was shot to death by her ex-boyfriend in 2010, who then shot himself.
Oh, fuck, dude. I forgot about her case. That was a big one here, dude. Yeah, that was in 2010. And then the other big San Marcos case, there was a fire that killed a bunch of people. There was a robber who was trying to break in and attack women and was doing it successfully until he got busted. And there are a couple of cases that were really weird. I think the weirdest was a girl who was like, I think it was a girl. It might have been a guy. It was a student who was hanging out on a balcony and fell and died. And there was argument on whether or not they were pushed because it was like a party. and nobody really did anything to help. And then it came out that that had actually happened before, and it caused a bunch of controversy. But yeah, this is kind of wow, that was her daughter. Fascinating. That case was sad.
Who then shot himself.
I used to think that the worst thing that could happen to a parent is to have their child murdered. But after hearing about Jason's story, I thought of his parents and realized
That's a good
that
point.
it's not. The worst thing I can imagine is not knowing where your child is.
Investigators say Jason disappeared on a drive
Yeah,
from
there's
San Marcos
cougars, bobcats, and mountain lions. I know that my boyfriend's mom's property has mountain lions on it, and they are spooky dooky.
to his hometown of Missouri City, Texas.
Yeah,
His
emus,
crashed
dude.
car was found on Salt
Emus are mean as fuck, by the way.
Flat Road, a gravel road in Luling's oil field. The Caldwell County Sheriff's Office believes he took his clothes off in the street and left his belongings behind. Shellman and a
So here's the thing. Normally, I would go with animal, right? 100% of the time, it's animal when you're in, when you're in areas with huge amounts of woods. But here's the thing. There is a lot of woods here, but it's also a lot of open land, and these farmers till their property. They check on their property. They have ranch hands. There was a lot of odd, like I say odd, but I mean, it's just an odd amount of various projects, construction, land work that was going on in the area. But this is such a tiny town, and yeah, people have land, but it's a couple of acres, right? And they did massive, thorough as fuck searches for 50 miles pretty quickly after until, until they exhausted them. They're still planning on more. They've used dogs, they've used drones, they've used all sorts of different tracking devices, they've used infrared shit, they've used every kind of professional search group you can imagine. And then they finally got geofencing data and started on the digital forensics, and yet nothing. And I just find it very interesting. Two things. One, there was a stupid rumor going around. I say stupid because the person hasn't come forward to confirm it themselves, so I still think it's probably bullshit. But someone said that basically the roommate heard from someone or something that Jason had supposedly asked about how to go missing or going into the wild. So far, that's rumor and speculation. I have yet to see any proof of that. However, he does frequently talk about all kinds of subjects, metaphysical and beyond, about drugs, about school, about the future. He's very enthused when he talks to his friends, and you'll see some more evidence soon. And you're gonna get to know Jason and see a little bit more of his personality. He's an outgoing dude. I noticed some people will look at one picture of him and go, "Oh, this kid's like a straight A student, maybe a little nerdy, probably a church boy." And then they look at others and they're like, "This kid's on dope." He seems like a really chill kid. He seems like almost any dude his age that goes to Texas State. And smokes pot. He just seems like a guy who goes to ACL. He seems like he's got a collection of wristbands. He's definitely got some Grateful Dead posters, I'm sure. He's just a chill kid. I have no arguments with the idea of this kid, dabbling in foreign substances here and there. But I certainly don't see him as like a coke dealer or fucking around with the cartel. But I also don't see him as slamming fucking heroin. Like, he seemed to be doing okay in school and had his shit together. It's just an odd case, and I'm going to be real with you. In any other instance, I would say he probably wandered off to come to the elements. And here's the thing: when wild animals get you, they don't digest all of you. This isn't Florida. Like, they almost always find some remnants, some bones, or some clothes. But because he took his clothes off, there's going to be some traces of something. If anything, at least in the animal dookie and dung, which, believe it or not, is harvested on a lot of these properties and reused for fertilizer. I actually think that that's something that would have been noticed. I think that he's going to be found in an area where people are going to go, well, we already searched there. How's that possible? And they just missed it, or maybe they didn't do it as thoroughly as they thought. Or part of me wonders if, he was a naked guy running around who, someone took matters into their own hands, or if maybe he was hit on another back road and somebody tossed him into the back of the vehicle to get rid of his body real quick. I wonder about those things. I don't have any real evidence to back that up. It's just I'm thinking outside the box here. I'm trying to. Like, why would he be gone and there's no trace of him, even with scent dogs? It's very odd. Let's keep going.
Team of about 30 people plus trained dogs have been searching for him at least once a month. The most recent search happening last week.
What we're looking for now is different than what they were looking for in the early stages when Jason went missing. This time of year, the grass is quite high and there's a lot of brush. And so I feel like if we cannot see to the ground, we cannot call an area cleared.
They're also looking for a new.
This is also totally possible, Calamity. You know about how bad snakes are. He could have jumped in the lake at one point to get blood off of him or something. Copperhead, who knows?
Spot to put up a billboard in the Luling area. This one on 183 near downtown was up for several months.
We're looking for a citizen who might be willing to have the banner or any banner at their home where it might face a road, a street, Highway 80, anywhere that people would come and go from Luling. We would like to keep that information.
Okay, we're going to pause for an update. Curious Wendy, give me an update because I was watching too, and I promised that I would try to get a stream done before Dad's boyfriend woke up so that, he can play his video games and stuff. So I had to go live, but I was invested. If you guys don't know, Brandy Churchwell is streaming about a TikToker that found a rolled up rug buried in her yard, but then made a joke. The TikToker made jokes like, what if it's a body? What if it's a ghost haunting me? Ha 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 ha. And then all of TikTok said, you should call the police. And then she did. And after some back and forth, they show up, cadaver dogs hit on it. They're like, it's a body. And now there's crime scene people at her house. And she's giving live updates as Brandy Churchwell is giving live updates of her giving live updates. And I am obsessed. And I want to know, was it a body? Whose body was it? What the fuck? Hit me up, Wendy. Tell me what's going on. Any oil storage tanks underground? There are septic tanks. There are regular wells. There are oil wells. There are abandoned houses nearby. And also, I'm going to throw a little kink in there for you. One of the businesses or buildings in the area recently burned down, and that has caused a lot of conspiracy speculation and rumors. But also this is an area where I'm not gonna lie, there's probably some methy behavior out in the woods, but I'm sure without a doubt the cops know who they are, because this is small towns here and they ain't got no quit as far as rumors go, and people know everybody's shit. They're all up in each other's ass. So yeah, I think there's so many there's fucking caves, dude. And then under that, all the way to New Braunfels, all the way to fucking San Marcos, all under that part of Central Texas is literally the biggest cave system in the southern United States, the Natural Bridge Caverns. It's fucking wild. I mean, there's so many possibilities.
And out there. And we'd like to make sure no one forgets about Jason.
Jason's case is being investigated by the Attorney General's office. They said last December, it appears he was in a single car accident and a search warrant found no activity near the crash site. Nothing has been found that suggests he was planning to meet anyone in Luling.
Well, it could be that someone has a very small piece of information that they might think is insignificant, but that may be just the piece of puzzle missing to figure all this out.
Shellman says they won't.
Oh my God, Jill and Brian. I've had a couple of friends who have had to go through that. Their teen running away. One of them made the news. It was my friend's kid, and he's a teen, and he decided he was going to go live out in the woods and survive alone. And he took weapons with him. Let's just say that. To the police and to everyone in the media, it looked really bad. Like, it looked like this kid might have gone in there to hurt himself. Really, he was just trying to play swamp man. Like, this kid was like gonna shoot boars and live off the land and be Bear Grylls. But they had to take him back home and give him pop-pops. They're still digging. God damn it. I want to know what they find. All right, let's keep going.
Don't stop until they find
And
him.
yes, I do plan on taking cameras out there and going so you guys can get an idea of what we're talking about.
Anyone who wants to join their team can contact her.
We all know that the tragic thing of losing your child, not knowing
Good question, Ernie. I would call the police.
where they are, has got to be the worst experience for a parent.
I've thought about this too, but not a good, this sounds bad, not a good kidnap choice, right? Able-bodied young man in his 20s, like, what? For what? You know what I mean? Like, we're not that close to the border in Lulling. It's not really like a, typically when people kidnap you to harvest your organs, it's like near the border or once you're already across. It just, he's not really, I mean, anybody's kidnappable, I guess, but I just don't see it. You know, all his stuff was left behind. It's just strange. And also, why kidnap a naked dude? It's odd. It's odd. I'm glad you asked the question, though.
And so we are trying to bring closure to the Landry family
God,
by
I hope
finding
so.
Jason, no matter what that takes.
Angela Shen, Fox 7 Austin News.
Now to the mysterious disappearance of Texas State University.
Exactly, Calamity. Exactly. Also a big possibility.
Student Jason Landry. He went missing, you may recall, in 2020 while driving home from San Marcos to Missouri City for Christmas break. Overnight, police in New York released a photo of an unconscious person who resembled Landry.
Kid looks just fucking like him. Not him.
That photo sparked hope, but in the end, it was not him. KPRC2's Sion Rhodes spoke with Landry's father about this latest disappointment. Sion.
And Kent Landry describing this all as an emotional roller coaster and a day that he is still trying to process.
I really had to do a double take.
Police went out Tuesday about an unconscious, unidentified man in a Bronx hospital. Kent Landry said he couldn't help but have a bit of hope. It was his son, Jason.
You hope and then you kind of cry. My wife and I were looking at it, trying to blow it up, trying to look at, well, his chin's not like Jason's or doesn't look right in the cheek. He's got looks like a broken nose, but who knows what could have happened in a year and a half. We didn't think it was him, but we certainly thought it was close enough that it could be him.
But early Wednesday afternoon, NYPD announced the man had been identified as a New York native and not Jason.
His birthday's in a couple of days. Would have been a great birthday present for all of us. I'm glad the young man's been identified. There's a happy family in Yonkers. As for us, we've been waiting 591 days.
Cheryl, good question. Oddly, no. I mean, out in this part of Texas, Oklahoma is more pig farming. They have more pig farms. West Texas and super far north Panhandle, a lot of pig farms, a lot of wind farms, believe it or not. The farming area, it's famous for the watermelon thump. It's watermelon territory. This is where you're gonna see a lot of like cotton, a little bit of wheat. You see a lot of pecans. You're gonna see a lot of watermelon. I already said that. You're going to see like walnuts. You're going to see strawberries. Poteet is out further on the way. It's going to be a lot of cattle, a ton of cattle. Simbrowed Jersey cows, a lot of dairy farms, a lot of bulls, longhorns, chickens, pigs, yes, but pig farms and processing plants, not so much. I mean, you're maybe going to have like a butcher or two per county. Some counties you're going to have 4 to 6, but it's not like the massive operation like you're going to see in like, Vancouver, Canada, or Oklahoma as a whole. It's a lot more fowl and bird, livestock, and beef country. It's mainly beef, nuts, berries. That's what we're working with. A couple of fruits. Let's keep going.
Days, and we'll keep waiting and praying.
Jason disappeared December 13th, 2020, as he was driving home to Missouri City from San Marcos for Christmas break. Law enforcement found his car totaled near Luling in Caldwell County. His wallet and phone found at the crash site, but the 21-year-old nowhere to be found.
The good thing about it, I'll say that the silver lining in the midst of all this, there are more people out there who've seen Jason's picture, who know the story, and
Hi, Lori.
who knows what God can do with that.
They are a family of deep faith. The father, a pastor at this church here in Missouri City. They are keeping the hope for their son alive. It is his birthday, Jason's birthday, his 23rd on Friday. They say they will be celebrating by wearing his favorite kinds of silly socks. If you know anything about this case, you're asked to call the Texas Attorney General's Office of Missing Persons. Live in Missouri City, Sion Rhodes, KPRC 2 News.
New images in the search for a Texas State University.
Turd, are you talking about Longview? Fucking Tyler, Texas is terrifying. Exactly. What in the ham sandwich? I got up early for you kids. For you.
Student who went missing while driving home from college 10 months ago. Caldwell County investigators found Jason Landry.
I'd probably stay calm. I don't really freak out that much when I'm giving in tips. I want to be kind of cool and collected. I usually write it down so I don't fucking miss anything, and then I make a call.
His crashed car in Luling last December. Here's a look at his abandoned car and the clothes he was wearing that night. Investigators say they found Jason's car with the lights on, keys in the ignition, and his phone left behind. KXAN's Caitlin Carmouth spoke with investigators today as they prepare for another search.
302 days.
Since the search efforts launched for Kent Landry's son, Jason.
All of these missing person cases just are very prevalent.
There's been 6 searches since December, spanning across 31,000 acres.
That's a critter skull. That's not.
Jeff Ferry is the lead investigator for the Landry case.
Each squiggly line there is a GPS
By the
tag
way,
attached to it.
the news is showing shit like this for a reason. This shit was left there. They didn't even collect the whole car. Like, literally weeks after this accident, people were going there to do news interviews and finding evidence at the scene. This is really piss poor.
For the Landry case.
Each squiggly line there is a GPS tag attached to a search team.
He's walking me through the layers of drone images that ran through a computer program to locate anomalies. They're searching for bone structures.
We're going to go back out and try to verify whether those are, human remains or critters.
Thousands of acres nailed down to 86 points of interest.
There's nothing to indicate that a crime occurred to Jason Landry.
Do you believe that?
I honestly have no idea. The law enforcement I know thinks that this is, missing person. He walked away and we just haven't found his body. I think that's a fair summary of what they would say.
But it's the fear of the unknown for him.
On some level, I would hope that.
Now, I totally agree with this dad. Let me tell you why. He knows, just like anyone in Texas knows, it doesn't matter where you go missing. There's going to be something of you left behind. Again, we don't have alligators here. Wild hogs, yes, they can absolutely devour a body, but it's extremely rare that would happen, that they would be gathered in an area just to eat a body at the perfect time. It's just not a super common thing unless it's like, I'm talking like somebody being in an accident, walking away, and just disappearing. There would be something. You know what I mean? The fact that he couldn't have gone far. There was a 50-mile radius they searched within a few days of this. They've done so many different types of searches. They have used cadaver dogs, scent dogs, every kind of dog you can imagine. Now, how qualified they are, we don't know yet. We were talking to Galen a little bit about that last night. I'd like to talk more. Also, Cheryl, great point. We brought this up last night too. This was a year into COVID. You know, this absolutely was in the middle of COVID in Texas too. So, like, when I say like he was packing up to go to his parents, yes, Buc-ee's is going to be open. A couple places are going to be open, but remember in 2020 there were places that were still closed. So I just find it interesting that he was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but he did just Snapchat someone. I do wonder if maybe he was trying to veer off the path to meet up with someone. They said there's no indication of that. I'm wondering if it's someone that he could just swing in on any time he wanted. But I also really do think maybe he got a little high and missed his turn. Took the wrong one, ended up on Salt Flat Road, had to do a turnaround, car accident. I wonder if him being naked and roaming around an area where a lot of good old boys have guns was beneficial to him. I don't think it was. I do wonder if he ran out in front of a car and got hit and if they disposed of him. And I don't think they've really looked at that.
That, you know, he passed away peacefully that night. He laid down in the cold and went to sleep with hypothermia and woke up in heaven.
Caitlin Parmoot, KXAN News.
Private investigators believe a third party may have been involved. At the time, the sheriff's office found a usable amount of marijuana inside of Jason's backpack. They first told us there was a possibility an unknown hallucinogenic substance combined with it. That has since been tested, and the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office telling us that the weed was not laced. A seventh search for Landry using the drone.
I have to say, I missed this when I was going through these videos. I missed that part. Apparently, this is one thing I do not have in any of my notes. This is new info to me. Apparently, they have tested the weed and it was not laced. Fantastic note to make. So I'm thinking head injury, right? Still a possibility. And maybe too high and maybe tired. I wonder if he had COVID. Like everyone was getting it. He was coming back from a college full of kids.
Image is planned in the next couple of weeks. According to the National Missing and Unidentified Person Database, right now over 1,700 people are listed as missing in the state of Texas. The most recent case is from October 2nd.
I want to pause because I want to remind you he's talking about NamUs. All right. That has about 33% of the cases, I believe.
That's a 16-year-old girl from Bastrop. The last one goes as far back as 1951.
Meanwhile, new details surrounding the disappearance of a Texas State University student from Fort Bend County who's been missing for now 6 weeks. Jason Landry disappeared in Caldwell County.
So this is 6 weeks after he's missing. We're going backwards in time from most recent to oldest news. There's a reason we're doing that because I like to kind of compare where we're at now with where we started and see, kind of see like what was right as far as like, were law enforcement correct? Was the family correct? Were the rumors correct? And kind of see how it's reported now versus then. And see the tone a little bit better. For some reason, I think you can see it better when you go backwards. So I like to do that. Let's keep going.
December 13th, while on his way to his family's home in Siena. After going through his cell phone and computer data, investigators do have a better idea of where he was before he vanished. Jason left his apartment in San Marcos at 10:55 p.m. on December 13th. His last digital footprint was at the intersection of Austin Street and Magnolia in Luling. Jason's car was found wrecked and abandoned at about 12:31 in the morning, roughly 5 miles away.
And that's the question. What happened in those 67 minutes? All it takes is one person to say they saw something or one person to come forward.
Jason's father says investigators plan to re-canvass the area of Luling where his son's car was found.
We continue to follow the disappearance of Texas State student Jason Landry. He was last seen in December of 20.
By the way, this is a beloved local Austin news couple. They're not an actual couple. They're just great when they're together on the news. Another badass is Miss Quita Culpepper. She finds me to be off-putting, but I adore her.
2020 before driving back to his parents' Houston area home.
Tonight, we have never before seen video and police audio never played in public. Fox 7 Austin's Shannon Ryan has the latest on the ongoing investigation in tonight's Crime Watch.
Hello, how may I help you? Yes, ma'am. I have to let you know it's Kellen with Southeast. I just come off of 1322 on the Salt Flat Road, and I'm about, I'm gonna say 5 or 6 miles off of the highway, and I just come up on a vehicle that's in a ditch, and it appears that it's gonna be he hit a fence.
On the side of a dark gravel road in Luling's oil field, headlights. The driver, 21-year-old Jason Landry, gone. Down the street,
That's a volunteer firefighter's truck.
a volunteer firefighter makes a strange discovery. Jason stripped naked, his clothes, belongings strewn on Salt Flat Road.
There's a toiletry bag. It's got some face cream, a little beard brush.
Captain Jeff Ferry of the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office
That's Sparky. Sparky is Jason's beta.
has spent hours analyzing videos like this.
Probably a college kid. So it looks like right. Oh my goodness.
Small amount of marijuana. The Jason Landry case is certainly a mystery, right? And it's almost a twofold mystery. Like, what happened to Jason Landry? Where is Jason Landry now?
The Texas State student disappeared on December 13th, 2020, driving from San Marcos to his hometown.
All signs point to us that he is under the influence. And we know that he's going to get in the car and try to navigate his way to Missouri City, where his parents are not expecting him. He was not due home. He was going to hang out with buddies, play video games, and get high.
Jason FaceTiming one of those friends ahead of the trip, his friend screen recording the conversation.
When Jason's friend thought he was planning on meeting Jason later.
You know, I want to say something about this, and then I want to go back because there's something that we should note in this. Pat, when you are talking about wild boars terrifying you, I just want to bring up to anybody who thinks that I am 100% on this side or that side, whether it's, you know, politically, socially, lifestyle, fucking whatever. Just keep in mind that when people were bringing up the wild hog argument and laughing at the thought of, like, remember when people were saying, why do we need AR-15s? I agree. Why? I don't give a fuck. Get rid of them. Whatever. Although, the one thing I will agree with is, if wild hogs are fucking chasing me, yes, an AR-15 will do the trick. In fact, I don't know that any other gun will. Because if you've ever seen a pack of fucking wild hogs, yeah, I know you get it. I know you didn't mean it that way, but I just have to bring this up because I never see anyone talk about this. If we're being honest with ourselves, the only instance I can think of in which it is something that I would need would be if wild hogs were chasing me, because they don't fucking stop for nothing. They literally are like a dude on bath salts. Like, you're not gonna stop a pig, a wild fucking hog. When it wants to come at you, it is literally fucking Andre the Giant on bath salts, all right? With horns. It's not gonna fucking stop. They're big, they're scary, and they can ingest you. What's even crazier is, speaking of East Texas, all the way to fucking Louisiana, Georgia, there were so many cases that I was able to find and that popped up on the news about, like, people being eaten alive by packs of wild feral hogs. One in particular was a maid that was leaving a house and she sees a hog and she runs up on the roof of her car They were so fucking big, they got her down and they ate her in the yard. You can shoot them and it will only irritate them. You literally have to spray them with fucking bullets. Wild hogs are no fucking joke. I just have to say that. I don't care who says what about it. It ain't about that. Look up wild boars, wild hogs attacking anything, and tell me that little pistol is going to take that bad boy out. Hell no. I just went on NamUs in Colorado as 366 unresolved missing people. But there are other categories I need to look at. Why doesn't everyone know about this? So it probably, if it says 366 on NamUs, then the real number is probably anywhere between like 1,200 and 1,900. NamUs has on average, I think it's 17 to 33% of all the cases. You can go look in the newspapers, cross-reference, but it also, like, there are some cases that are already solved that are still in NamUs because it takes forever to update. And because I believe the government used to help run it, and now it kind of got turned over to the hands of a small collective, and it's just a lot of upkeep. It's a constant, never-ending fucking shit show trying to update NamUs. Anyway, let's keep going.
And thought,
Hello,
man, Jason's
Lori.
so high right now, he's not going to remember what he's saying.
Jason seen on video rolling the same joints a state trooper would recover from his backpack just hours later.
But we can just see how saturated his armpits are. He's extremely sweaty. He's indoors, and he's sweating from just sitting down.
You know, this is a crazy good point. I didn't even think about this. I don't know why I missed this part too. He's sweating. It's 23 degrees outside in December. He's in a short sleeve shirt. Yes, he's indoors, but it's still going to be fucking cold. He was still in shorts and slip-ons with no socks, like flip-flops, and a t-shirt, which he took off in 20-something degree weather after that accident. I wonder if he has a history of mania, if he's having a manic episode, or if maybe he did take, maybe he took some Adderall or something, or some fucking Vyvanse, or I don't know, mushrooms. Mushrooms make people sweat a ton, dude.
Jason seen on video rolling the same joints a state trooper would recover from his backpack just hours later.
But we can just see how saturated his armpits
Oh,
are.
hi, Darlene.
He's extremely sweaty. He's indoors, and he's sweating from just sitting down. We're 30 minutes into the video, and he's just sweated through his shirt. Certainly seems relevant, knowing that in less than an hour, Jason's going to be disrobing in a very...
Yeah, dude, wild hogs. We'll watch some videos of them in a minute. Like, I'm not fucking around. There are hunters who, if they hear one, they're like, fuck, like, they're like, shut the fuck up. Like, we will die. Like, it's like a bear, dude. Don't fuck with a bear. And by the way, they get massive. Like, they're 600 to 6,000. Like, there's thousands and thousands of pounds. Some of them can get like fucking 6-7 feet bigger than that. It's fucking insane.
Very cold, austere environment.
The screen recording does not have audio, forcing Ferry to rely on Jason's friend's recollection of the conversation.
They're talking about spiritual awakening and enlightenment and opening his third eye.
Okay, yeah, I remember this video now. I definitely got a mushroom vibe because he was talking about that, like about the meaning of life, God, third eye. Here's another thing, though. In 2020, I mean, Molly is a big thing. PCP is not really a big thing in that area. I mean, hell, even at that time, opioids weren't that big in that area. The big thing in this town is going to be Molly and mushrooms. Like 100% Molly and mushrooms. And some people fuck around with like ayahuasca, but mostly Molly and mushrooms. That's what these kids are into at Texas State. And I know because my neighbor's daughter goes there. And she tells me everything. He Jason and him, I believe, had a setting on where they screen recorded their shit. Kind of like how StreamYard auto-save stuff. Yeah, fuck a bear. Yeah, opening up the third eye is definitely a sign of some mushroom use. Also, acid. Believe it or not, acid is kind of a big thing, but I don't think it makes people sweat like that. Like, everybody that I've met who's on acid, they're just very fucking wormy and weird. They act like fucking Gollum, but he's very delightful and cheerful. I feel like he might be on mushrooms, especially with the third eye talk. He's probably listens to Sound Tribe Sector 9. No hate, no hate. He's just got that Art Outside Festival vibe to him. Yeah, hippie flipping is a big thing. He could be on the SID. It's just like, I don't feel like he would have made it too lulling if he was on acid, but I feel like he could make it on mushrooms. I bet he was coming down and thought he was good to drive. I do wonder if maybe he was worried and turned it on. That's a good point. Actually, K-Buns, you could be onto something. Yeah, some people do. The thing is, in acid, in Texas, acid often has strychnine in it or like gives you diarrhea. And it's also, I believe, like an attempted murder charge if you get busted with it, or at least it was for a long time. Like every hit. And I had a buddy go to prison for it. And he was sentenced to 25 years, which was a light sentence. He ended up getting out on the 3-for-1 time way sooner, but he got to plead down because he had excellent, criminal background check, nothing on it. He got very lucky because he could have actually spent life in prison for just a couple of hits of acid. So it's very hard to get here. It's not as common nowadays. MDMA, Molly, and mushrooms, very big. Very big here. People love that shit. Yeah, I can see it being some type of ecstasy. I'm spiritual, but I can open up my third eye. Is this a pen joke? Are you going to hide your pen in your third eye, Darlene? Making a butthole joke? You're grounded. Acid makes me trip way harder and be on. Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, really lulling itself, just getting there is a whole thing. Like, I can't see anyone on acid driving to lulling. We are going to see Breaking Benjamin tomorrow. Stained is opening for them too. Oh my God, you better film some of that for us, Jill and Brian. Stained. I don't take drugs and 4 to 5 ND. Oh. Well, Darlene, I do believe you are in touch with your third eye, and I also believe you put pens in it. Pat says, "Aw, I vote shrooms and Molly." Yeah, I'm thinking he's definitely on something. I wasn't convinced until this. Like now it's like, oh shit. Dude, I want to see Alanis so fucking bad. Her ACL live was incredible. It made me cry. Yeah, no, I don't think you're joking, darling. I fucking believe you. You're hard as nails, bitch. I believe you. We'll post in Discord. Please do. Please do. You're a jagged little pill. Darlene, you can write Chad Daybell books, dude. Darlene, I would read them too. And I'd follow Darlene into her cult. Darlene's hair is fucking sick. By the way, Dawn Marie went live yesterday. We have to remember to go support her and go watch. And I will put a link in the video description below to Dawn Marie. She has the best accent. I can't wait for you all to hear it. And I remembered that because of Darlene Wolf and her great accent. We're going to have a New York accent contest on this channel because you guys have fantastic fucking accents. And we need to have a battle. Shirley Too High, don't call me Shirley, got in an accident, wandered off. The buzzards and animals got him. I agree with you, but here's the thing. Buzzards and animals aside, there would be some remnants. I really think there would be. I really do. I really do.
Their drug consumption.
That conversation.
This is the best point I've seen on the whole live. How would he get through Gonzales without being pulled over if he were buzzed? I know. Anybody from Texas driving through there knows Gonzales and Seguin are the biggest fucking traps for getting pulled over. God damn it, it's bad. And the worst part is that's where all the good antiques are. That's where all the good thrift stores are. And by thrift stores, I mean someone's old abandoned shack that has a lot of creepy shit in it. And to get through those, you have to go through the speed trap. And you, even if you're 2 miles under, they're pulling your ass over. They want to know where you're from and who your daddy is and what your daddy do.
Ferry says is consistent with Jason's internet activity in the minutes leading up to his disappearance.
He's Googling how long can you live in the woods without food? You know, how long can you go in the wilderness? He's looking up some spiritual enlightenment practices.
He's probably looking at Buddhism. Go into the woods and die. Live off the land. Be a teacher. Be a student. Be rich. Be poor. Be spiritual. Be empty. It's all about two extremes, right? Live with wealth. Go live in the woods. He did look those things up. There's also a rumor about a roommate who said that he had been talking about, what do you think is the best way to go into the wild type of shit? These statements that this cop is talking about that were found on his phone were Google searches. Now, did they go full Pupatracta with them and figure out if Jen McCabe texted them at 2:28 in the morning? I don't know. But I mean, it's kind of obvious where he's going with this, that these cops are pretty settled in on their theory of this fucking hippy dippy kid went in the woods and wanted to fucking live like into the wild. Okay, yeah, you might think that, but also what are the chances that he was hit by a car running naked? Because he's having a freak out. And they haven't really investigated that. At least it doesn't look like it. Let's keep going.
He's looking up different strains of marijuana and different how to combine those. He's looking up different. He's talking about psychedelics and how they have impacted his life and his perception of spiritual awakeness.
Looking at Jason's digital footprint.
Again, when we look at for this map, the yellow is our Snapchat data, the blue or the teal here is our Waze data.
Ferry doesn't believe anything nefarious happened to him.
And this is pretty consistent travel. I mean, he doesn't stop.
Still, searches have come up dry.
The belief at this point is that he's just out there. And
I'm going to ask you honestly, I'm not making a joke. See the cow right there? Fucking milking cow. Anyway, you're on mushrooms. You're on a psychedelic. You have just gotten in a car accident and had your whole ass rocked. Your head has been hit. We can presume, you've just been in an accident. Your third eye's open. You're sweating. It's 20-something degrees outside. You let go of all of your belongings and you wander into these woods in Texas, which isn't that dense. It's a lot, as you can see, of open field. Sparse woods, open field, cattle guards, easy to fall in, impossible to walk on, sober. But then you've got barbed wire fences everywhere. So he would have had to try to get across the cattle guard. What are the chances? He tried that. He fell. He broke something. He's naked, really hard to walk on those things. Cows can't fucking do it. Also, let's be real. These are oil wells. If you haven't seen one, this little guy right here. From far away, as a kid, we used to freak out and love them because far away, they used to paint them like crickets or little bugs or birds. And they would be out in the fields where we live. Every once in a while, you'd see a cricket or a bug or a bird or, and it was hilarious looking. We used to get thrilled when we'd see these, but when we didn't see them painted, they'd freak us out. They look freaky. They look like ants. So imagine you're tripping out on psychedelics. It's the middle of the night. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You just had a head injury. What do you think seeing one of those bad boys is going to do to you? You know what I mean?
This point is that he's just out there, and that's frustrating, right? Because it is.
Yeah, he fucked it up.
There's a lot of land.
That's why Ferry says the sheriff's office is sharing these phone calls, videos, and other data with Fox 7, hoping to generate new interest and leads. Jason's family is now left with their own questions.
If for any individual, myself included, you or anyone else, and the government felt it would appropriate to release our weirdest searches that we ever Googled in recent time, what would it look like for each of us? It would probably look pretty odd.
I'd be
so that would be my question.
You can tell he's a good pastor. I bet he's given that in a sermon. I hope he has. Because that, really think about that. Something happens, God forbid, something happens. They're looking at your internet search history tomorrow. What the fuck are they going to say about us, kids? What the fuck are they going to say?
That would be my question is,
Yes,
why
he
would
was
you
barefoot.
do that?
Shannon Ryan, Fox 7
Another thing, he's barefoot in snake territory.
Austin News.
Now at 10, a new highly specialized team of investigators is
All
taking.
right, so remember last night, if you weren't here, we did talk about, briefly, we were grilling the fuck out of, so long story short, Galen donated a lot of memberships to the channel last night, like 10 or 20. And as a thank you, I put her to work and I grilled her and I asked her questions, and you guys asked her questions about, cadaver dogs and cadaver dogging and scent dogging and all the things that have to do with search dogs. And she informed us that, no shade, but some of these different organizations, they have various levels of dogs with different capabilities, right? The training is, it's different everywhere. And I'm curious, what more can they do? And also what has been done. And I found this video on it, and I want to show it to you as an example of one of the many search procedures and teams that they had on it a while back.
On missing persons cases across Texas.
And they tell us they're inspired by the story of Jason Landry.
They could if they were good cops. Total shade. Definitely throwing shade there. I mean, these cops didn't even wear gloves at first when they were picking shit up. One of them did. The other one didn't. They also toss his shit on the ground after looking through it. They didn't collect a bunch of it. The dad is the first person to get video. They didn't ask for stuff that they should have asked for, like the dad's video at first. I mean, there's just so much that was done wrong procedurally. They may as well have fucking tossed a couple of Canton dudes in there just to shake things up, Fucking wild.
The Houston area.
To be clear, they did not do this family justice.
College students who simply vanished. Grace White has the story you'll see only on KHOU 11 News tonight. Grace?
He was totally
We sat
barefoot.
down
He
with the
left his slides, dude, his Adidas slides.
retired Texas Ranger leading this new.
By the way, that's when you know shit's going down, Turd. I think, Turd, your name's Turd. I think we both know what that means. Nobody leaves their fucking Adidas slides behind. You leave the Pumas, you leave the Nikes, you leave the Filas. You don't fucking leave your Adidas slides, dude.
Unit. Right now, he's focused
Not
on
even
getting the
capping.
word out and says he's already starting to work some cases.
From the beginning, it's been a challenging case to work.
Missing persons is near and dear to us.
Justin McInnes is president and CEO.
I'm starring this, by the way, Darlene, because it's a good point. A lot of psychiatric cases end up with people stripping. And by the way, had a couple of friends who had some various levels of fits, but essentially like mental breaks. Surprising how many of them take their clothes off.
With Texas Search and Rescue, the group's been instrumental in the search for Jason Landry since a Houston area college student disappeared while driving.
Yes, they have stuff here called bull nettle, and it hurts like a motherfucker. And there's also cacti, and there's also little burrs.
Home for winter break in December of 2020, McInnes realized
The need is great.
so Texar decided to do something.
That's what brought upon the missing persons unit. Going through the Jason Landry.
K-Bun said
They
it.
hired a retired Texas Ranger.
Almost 30 years in law enforcement and 19 of those years with the Texas Rangers. You get a lot of experience in.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man is a badass.
and work some of the most heinous crimes that are out there.
Todd Snyder is leading the
Ignore that he said heinous. He is a Texas Ranger. Show this man some respect, kids. Pull your pants up, tuck your shirts in. We got a Texas Ranger daddy in the house.
Todd Snyder is leading the missing persons unit.
Search parties, ground search teams, whether that's canines, aerial assets, even now a mounted unit.
All resources Texar can deploy with the goal of bringing people like Jason Landry home.
We want
I know what
nothing more
case you're
than to
talking
see this
about.
program grow, be successful, and just as you say, ultimately it's bringing closure to those family members. Of
He's
These
ex-Marine, right? Or ex-cop, and he swam across the border into Mexico, they think. We'll have to look him up later. Robert something, maybe? I think I know what you're talking about.
resources
In Arizona, and he took the family dog, right?
are all free of charge, but the key families of the missing have to make a request through a local law enforcement agency. That way, Texar has an official invitation to begin working on the case. Grace White, KHOU 11 News.
Today marks 3 years since a Texas State University student was last seen. Jason Landry's family is still wondering why he never made it home. On this day in 2020, Landry was on his way home to Missouri City near Houston for winter break. On December 14th, investigators found his car crashed and abandoned near Luling. In the time since, there have been numerous searches for Landry, and the Texas Office of the Attorney General's Cold Case and Missing Persons Unit has taken a look at the case. Last month, investigators with that unit say they had an extensive roundtable case review. The panel concluded all credible leads and investigative steps have been thoroughly pursued up to this point. Authorities do not believe a crime occurred, but Landry has
Kraken? You read my mind, bitch.
not been found. On Friday night, there will be a vigil at the site where authorities found his crashed car. If you know anything about Landry's disappearance that might help investigators, you're asked to come.
Oh, shit. I know. Was it out of Oregon? Did he put her in, like, the back of his vehicle in, like, a fucking trunk, and she tried to call the police, and then they weren't able to get her, and he blew up, like, a caseworker and the kids? Was that it?
Contact the Texas Attorney General's office.
Still doesn't give them the answers they need.
It's a prayer of people, our family, and knowing an eternal hope in Christ is the only thing that makes you get through it. I honestly don't know from that first week if we
Okay,
actually
wait,
have
pause
any
it right
more.
there. So wait, his airbags were not deployed. So it was still drivable a little, maybe? Well, no, because we saw that fucking tire, but his airbags weren't deployed.
Pastor, his family has leaned on their faith to cope.
Sorry, I gotta
That
see
still
this
doesn't
again.
give them the answers they need.
It's a prayer of people, our family, and knowing an eternal hope in Christ is the only thing that makes you get through it. I honestly don't know from that first week.
So interesting. So look right here. Charger still on, lights still on, doors closed, keys in the ignition. No deployed airbag. But the car is trashed. Like he can't drive it again. The case where it dumped the wife somewhere, his dad later. Oh shit. I'm starring this. I'm gonna have to look that one up later, Jill. Yeah, this is interesting. I wonder, wasn't the Daniel, someone get Miss Parks? She knows more about it than I do. Wasn't the Daniel Robinson case? Because I have the whole file, but I got bogged down in infotainment stuff on that. I cannot actually remember if the airbags were deployed. I feel like they were in that one. Was Morris? There's just so much fucking damage to this car and the tree. If you remember in a previous one, the one of the news pieces we just saw, the tree had like a huge chunk of wood out of it. That's how hard he fucking hit it.
if we actually have any
Susan
more
Powell.
answers
Yes.
than we had that first time.
The case is now in the hands of the Texas Attorney General's Cold Case and Missing Persons Unit. In a statement Wednesday, the unit reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to the investigation, and last month it even put together a roundtable to discuss the case. Sitting at that table was Texas Search and Rescue, which has coordinated countless searches in this case that have spanned more than 57 square miles and 30.
Yeah, so is it true? So I thought airbags deploy just if the car has enough impact and if it's totaled, basically, right? Maybe they malfunctioned. Okay, that's a good point. So he probably would have hit his head on that wheel then. Wow. Also, yes, Susan Powell, that's the case, dude. Fuck. Maybe we need to look into that. Fucking Josh Powell, piece of shit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up on that. That's a good point. Recalls on the car. And actually the VIN number, I believe, is available. We could even look at the history of the car, but it's very odd to me that the airbags didn't because the car was wrecked, dude. But in a second, we're finally to the point where we're gonna watch some
35
body cam footage so you can
Thousands.
see exactly what went down when they found it.
square acres.
Folks that show up to these searches, they're highly trained, but they're moms and dads too.
Texar Director of Communications Shannon Smith says despite the use of forensics, aerial photos, and behavior analysis, it's frustrating when that's not enough.
To try, to see and ensure that, no stuff.
Yeah, Kraken. So a car did come across it and they called it in, and that's the guy on the 911 call.
Isn't looked at, but it's difficult when the answers just aren't there.
Landry says while it does nothing for the
Yeah. So I was wondering about that too, about that car, and about the guy who called it in. But what's interesting is in the video, you'll see the guy who lives on another road that's nearby Salt Flat. I believe he is either the first responder or the first person to call it in, but I think that there's some miscommunication there because I do think that he's the one who called it in. And he's a volunteer firefighter or something who was passing by, but it doesn't really sound like him in the 911 call, but they made it seem like that in the media. So I'd like to get that clarified. I do wonder if someone had their brights on and it fucked Jason up and he wrecked and they saw that happen and he got scared and ran away. But I don't know that someone hit him and put his body in a car right away. I don't think that happened right away because there was a 911 call about a naked guy running around, and I think that was him. But we'll get to that.
pain, he's still relieved so many are working to find his son.
There's so many law enforcement that will run that lead down and take it from there. But if there's someone who knows something.
Also, I do need to point out, I agree they should test the shirts wet, but Texas specifically, the jurisdiction this would have fallen under, which would have been probably the Houston area, because Austin's DNA lab was closed at the time, which we went over in a past episode. And Houston was recovering from Hurricane Harvey still, and how it destroyed their lab and everything was covered in mold. So they were backstocked on DNA, something like 200,000 fucking cases statewide, but a shitload in that area. And my case in 2014, the DNA still hadn't come back in 2019 on some things. So I don't know that them testing the sweat, even at the Texas Rangers level, would have been expedited in any way because of the shit going down with DNA testing at the time and COVID.
Please make that.
But I agree. I wish they would have.
Anonymous call.
I mean, shit, they didn't even collect his cell phone at first. Goodbye, Jill and Brian. We love you. That's what I was wondering also, Nicole. I think there was some paradoxical undressing going on, but we also see Obviously, because that sweat going on and it being 20 something degrees and him talking about a third eye, I think we know possibly, in my opinion, why that was happening. I do wonder if he was mushroomed out. And I mean, they can't do a toxicology because they don't have a body yet, right? What if a tow truck driver made his car hit something after the fact? Because I swear somebody there marked an encounter away as not relevant, but it's a good old boy system. Yeah, there aren't. I mean, tow trucking out there isn't like a big job because they don't really get a lot of calls. They mainly focus on the city. I don't know. I think there would have been some sort of evidence of that, especially in the geofencing data, because they know exactly who is around. I think they would have been like, why were you sitting there? But yeah, they did have a guy in Austin who was throwing rocks at cars off a bridge and then pulling up in his tow truck to help them. And people got really hurt. Some people almost got killed. Who would just leave a naked guy running around the middle of nowhere? Why would they not just keep an eye on him until help came? Well, I mean, if he runs out into the woods of your field in the middle of the night, I mean, who knows? Someone could have shot at him. Riley Strand test. He was taking off all his clothes before he died. Yep. It's something about like, I do think Riley might have been. I mean, I don't know. Did the toxicology come back? Because I wonder if he was dosed with something, maybe GHB, which would show up as what? Alcohol in his blood? FD Sparks went looking in Utah desert with no. I sent him a message to look for an Oregon forest, but was ignored. Ooh, we're gonna have to talk about Susan Powell then. I could hear people talking in the woodwork of the house. I thought that it was the evil that the woods absorbed throughout the 100 years. Oh, you're talking about when you had psychosis? Yeah, I had a friend who had psychosis, and she could not stop talking about the store city trends, and it like drove her nuts. And it's like, it seems like, to me, it seems like when people get sleep paralysis, but like in your brain with your thoughts, like you're just stuck on a loop. It's terrifying to me. It's terrifying. It's such a horrific thing that I wouldn't wish on anybody. It's so scary to lose your mind even for a moment, you know? I've had a lot of concussions, and there were times right after where I was like, am I going to be constantly like, it felt like I was rocking, which I found out was vertigo, but like I was really scared. Is it going to be like this forever? I can imagine seeing objects that aren't there or having extreme paranoia or hearing voices. Like, it's got to be terrifying when you can't differentiate that from real life. I think people need to be more empathetic towards those who are experiencing that, and it needs to not be considered as taboo to openly talk about it. There's a really good channel of a guy who films his schizophrenic fits and what he thinks is there to educate people on schizophrenia. And I really appreciate that dude in his channel, because I have a friend going through family member with those symptoms, and she's found it very educational. And I think that creators who are putting out like that kind of content where they're showing you like, this is what it's really like to live with this or to live with someone who has this, fucking tremendous resource, dude. Tremendous resource. Psychosis is terrifying. People need to put some respect on Psychosis's name. When I think of Susan Powell, I can see rocks and trees. I mean, I need to look what she looks like. Let's see. At this point, you're looking for skeletal remains, especially without clothing. Yeah, possibly. That's my point with geofencing. Although likely no one has those records. There was someone nearby. They have a geofencing warrant. It came back. I just don't think they've released it. I wonder if they got any swabs from gear shift and steering wheel. I mean, they didn't even get the fucking phone out of the car. Who knows? Yeah. Producers' goals big time. And also, like, Austin news is so dramatic and Houston news is so to the point because they've got so much shit going on, and it's very funny to see the difference. Yeah, I think Riley was spiked too. I think it's hard to use our regular logic to explain. So yeah, it's so hard. Nothing showed up in Raleigh's talks. Yeah, but if it was just like, if it was GHB, it would just show up as alcohol, right? As alcohol in the system would be why Riley seemed too drunk when he only had, yeah. And it's a very popular drug among college kids. I should say alcohol. I have Riley's tox screens from his autopsy. What should I look for to indicate that? Just like a high concentration of alcohol, like a really high one. I mean, for 2 drinks, it's gonna be like insane if it was GHB. If you took like half a cap, he could seizure out and die. Drugs definitely made these decisions. When my mom is in acute psychosis, she's literally living in a paradox. It says the most irrational reality components that she believes exist. I had a functional breakdown and was on a. Oop, gotta scroll down. Oh, nothing yet. We will get the update soon. I was manually breathing for months. Had to get. Yep. Having to teach yourself or tell yourself how to breathe is also like the sign of a panic attack, right? Absolutely. I can't imagine what it must be like to experience and not be. Yeah, it's reality to you, but nobody else is very scary. It was exhausting. I bet it was. And it dehydrates you, right? Bones would be gone at this point, but there surely could be teeth. I mean, I don't even know if the bones would be gone because, like, the only consuming predator out there that could consume bone would be wild hogs. But, like, this isn't okay. Wild hog territory, there might be a few, but this isn't really hog hunting territory as much as like maybe 10 or 15 miles down the road, believe it or not. This is like heavy deer, too many deer, which means not enough hogs. And it's just like a lot of open area. It's mainly for grazing, cattle grazing. Coyotes wouldn't even like consume bone. I mean, they try to chew on it probably, like the Mookie's does when he has a chewy little bone to chew on. But I mean, they wouldn't be able to consume it completely. This is a tricky one, you guys. Shut the fuck up. 228? You mean 2.28? That is a lot for just 2 drinks, dude. No. I mean, 2 drinks, he should theoretically, with the time frame, should have been at like a barely near a 0.8 with his body weight. Holy shit. Yeah, he definitely got dosed. Oh, yeah, and Riley also bonked his head. He ran into a pole.
So what do we know about that house, the 2379? Is it abandoned?
It's abandoned. Nobody lives there, but I don't know if you saw all his clothes and stuff. Like, he's completely naked wherever he's at. There's blood on his underwear.
So we got 27.
White panel.
I'll go. Wouldn't let him have that. Cool. You want me to have it all or just this?
Yeah.
Okay. Righty, 233.27. Three 9 8 9 4 8 6 0 39 89 48 60. It's gonna be a 27 that was located in the backpack.
That's just alcohol, right? Like isopropyl alcohol, ethanol. I mean, that's strong as fuck.
I'm telling him, I live right up there on Soda Springs.
Yeah.
And I can kind of tell the vehicles, but I ain't never seen this vehicle.
Yeah, the loop. That's the best way to describe it, right? That's the way my friend described it. She said it's just like 24/7 loop. 24/7 loop. 0.228. Okay. So if 0.08 is the regs, 0.24 would be 3 times that amount. So he probably had the equivalent to 6 to 8 drinks in 2 drinks. Shit.
Tax. Right, college kid.
So it looks like right.
Oh my goodness. Uh-oh.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to leave it back.
That or he's a delivery boy.
641004 County. You got that driver license?
Yeah.
Address for that subject is going back to Missouri City. May be associated with the driver's license.
CBS. Man, it looked like it was a lifeguard. He's got a red whistle in on his rearview mirror. It's a wonder he didn't get killed. Because he craned a tree.
Where's the cart? Behind us?
It's back there.
Okay.
Around his stand.
I'm not collecting up the clothes, but I'm taking this. Okay. And I'm going to go through the rest of it.
I'm thinking if he's from Missouri City, he's still on foot. You want me to go back and hit a Pumper and jump 86? I came off of Spruce. I wanted to come from Luling North. I didn't see nobody, but I never hit the side roads.
I came from
1322. So we met in the middle.
Yeah. Tell you what, you said there was an abandoned house up there?
Yeah, so that house in the right window, and I'm about to check it out, but it has the curtains are open. Some don't have curtains, so I was able to see through it. Small house. On the right window, it looks like there's something hanging on a ladder, like a shirt or a jacket. So I'm gonna go back and check it out.
Okay, go check that out.
All right.
That's what I saw. That's why I said,
Yeah.
find it.
I'm gonna head on home. If I can get down to Soda Springs, I'll give y'all a call.
Right at 233. Also, for 14, there's gonna be a small barn next to it. Sheriff's office. Hello, sheriff's office.
Yeah, that's the one cop who was like, should I go look for this kid? Remarkable police work. Also, this property had been abandoned for a little while. No problem, Kraken. Which, by the way, is totally normal out there. There are definitely rundown houses that get abandoned because, you know, they're going to get busted down and they're going to sell the land, you know, one day. And they just have old shit in them. And a lot of elderly people, they refuse to go to homes. They want to die out there, you know? And then the property just sits until a kid comes and cleans it out and collects it. I do believe that this property was up for sale for oil well land, and it's highly coveted. Mineral rights are a big deal out here. So it's not really that weird to see an abandoned house. It did look like it had a functioning working AC. It looked like a good ass window AC, but it also looked a bit ran down, and you can see a lot of rust and shit and other pictures on the septic tank and the gas tank, and it doesn't look like it had been, it was likely not filled for a while. It doesn't look like anything there has been touched for at least a year or two. I wouldn't actually say a drop off point for drugs. It's not really, it's kind of weird, but in Texas, especially out in these communities, people go into each other's house. It's not really like in a city where you do a handoff in a park or have a stash house. It's more of like, come over. My parents are playing video games. Don't be loud. Like, it's a lot of families. If they're selling stuff, like kind of everyone in the house knows. And because property can be guarded with weapons, even though it shouldn't have drugs around it, often people will just invite you into their house, which is spooky dooky. Let's keep going.
We were informed today.
We've got about 5-6 more minutes of body cam, and then we're gonna wrap up. But I mean, not really a bad thought though, Darlene, if it had been other things. Like if I thought he was doing like harder drugs, then I could see a stash spot being relevant, especially if it was like meth or something. But I don't think he's doing that. I think he's on a psychedelic trip. I do wonder if he went out to the field to like look for mushrooms, but then like, nah, I don't know. This is
We
weird.
open on the shop. Lights on inside. All doors are secure. There are lights on inside.
Powell County Sheriff's Office.
Hey, it's Cameron with Southeast Fire. How are you tonight?
Hello, how may I help you?
Yes, ma'am. I have to let you know it's Cameron with Southeast. I just come off of 1322 on the Salt Flat Road, and I'm about, I'm gonna say 5 or 6 miles off of the highway, and I just come up on a vehicle that's in a ditch, and it appears that it's gonna be he hit a fence. There's clothing and shoes all in the roadway.
Okay. You said at FM 1322 and Salt Flat Road?
Yes, ma'am. It's going to be about 5 miles off of Salt Flat. 6500.
Okay. And is there anybody inside the vehicle that you can see?
I'm fixing to run back up there and see, but there's a backpack and some shoes all on the road, but I'm going to run back up here and check them out. And then I'll give you a call back.
Okay.
Alrighty, man. But they are still in the ditch, but I'm going to go make contact with them.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Dispatch.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you find the driver?
I have not. I went up and down Salt Flat, and I haven't located him yet, but it appears that he grabbed a backpack or something out of his car, and he's thrown it in the middle of the road along with a cup that smelled like alcohol, and he's stripped out of his clothes wherever he's at, and there's some blood on his clothes.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we will get a deputy out there because the trooper's still a little ways out.
Alrighty, yeah, because he took out some fence, and his back windshield's not completely out, and it's got severe front and rear damage to it.
Okay.
I don't know where he's at. I've been up and down trying to find him, but I haven't located him yet. Other than that abandoned house that's on here, and I wasn't going to go up there. I figured that'd be a law enforcement issue.
Okay, and it's on Salt Flat, 4 miles north of Pumper?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
All right, bye.
On highway, what is this one, whatever they call this, Salt Flat Road or whatever.
I think this is his dad's recording.
And these are Jason's clothes lying.
So this is, by the way, everyone, this is a few hours after the cops have alerted the parents. The parents have showed up. You can still see tire tracks. You can still see like footprints, yet they didn't really do a good job of securing the crime scene. nor was it at the time, I guess, considered a crime scene, despite bloody clothes, the whole circumstances in general. But this, other than what little you've seen already, this is the only recording of it in the light, and it was taken by his dad. Thank goodness his dad did that, because his dad used to be a lawyer and is a smart cookie. Because without it, you know, a lot of clues could have been lost, I think, into what happened. Yes, the back glass was broken out. The hit was to the front, yes, but he did hit a fence. It was a barbed wire fence. Sometimes when you snap those, they will bust through the window. Kind of like a guitar string. If you pop it, how sometimes it'll hit you back in the hand. Also possible that he could have broken a branch, which could have fallen on it. I don't really know exactly other than that, but the back end was fucked up and the front. So it looks like he might have hit the fence and the tree, which is why I think he spun out turning around instead of just veering off road, because I feel like he would have flipped that way. It would have taken about 2 hours, I believe. So they didn't notify the parents till like called them, I believe, a little after 12:30 or 1. Contacted them based on what was in the wallet. Gave them a rundown of what was going on. Kept in touch with them. They started heading that way. And then the dad gets this video.
Okay. All right.
All right, bye.
This is absolutely true.
On highway, what is this one, whatever they call this, Salt Flat Road or whatever, on the washboard.
Keep in mind, again, the cops have already left, and the dad is finding this shit in the road.
On highway, what is this one, whatever they call this, Salt Flat Road or whatever, on the
Anybody could
washboard.
drive through this right now.
And these are Jason's clothes lying in the road. It's hard to see. Those are 2 pairs of socks, shorts. It's underwear.
Did you see all the blood on that sock, by the way? Look at all the blood on that sock. And his dad was smart enough not to touch it, to get video first, see exactly where it's laying. Sock, his stuff. Like, the cops have left. They've impounded the car. He's showing up there, and he's seeing his kid's stuff still in the road.
It's hard to see. Those are 2 pairs of socks, shorts. It's underwear. I'm about, I don't know,
His fucking
20 feet
shoes.
ahead. You couldn't really see.
His fucking shoes. Okay, consider this. That case attached to with Buster Murdoch. Remember how people were blaming him for that high school kid who was driving down the road and his shoes got knocked off, right? Could you imagine if they didn't pick up, what was his name? Steven? Was that his name? Could you imagine if they didn't pick up the shoes? Shit. John O'Keefe's crime scene, the shoes were a big deal. Jason Landry's parents get there to the road, which is an open road. Anyone could have driven down and gone, oh, driven down and go, oh, free Nike. Fuck it. I thought they were Adidas. Fuck, they're Nike slides. Damn. Free Nike slides. You know what I mean? Like, a bloody sock just left in the road. This is fucked up.
Seeing this is his flip flops. This is his t-shirt.
They didn't even bother to get a fucking pick and pull bag for evidence. They just left it. The dad's openly picking it up with his bare hands because the police left it on the ground.
You can see where at least this is where they went.
Yeah, pretty much. You see this?
These are the track marks, and you can go down here, and you can see where the car went off.
Okay,
you can see
so
the wheels and hit.
The dad is showing you the track marks. Do you see how quick that veer is? Like, I know it's hard to tell, but let's look at that.
T-shirt.
Yeah, Steven Smith. Could you imagine if they left the shoes? Holy shit.
You can see where
Okay, so he veers off. So I'm thinking like, Okay, first of all, you can tell he's on the opposite side of the road. Not good. It's dark. It's night. Here were my initial thoughts. He realizes, oh shit, I'm on the wrong road. I'm just going to turn around right here. He veers off to do a U-E. All of a sudden, boom. You know? The other thing is, what if he fell asleep, woke up, and then adjusted the wheel? Because look how sharp that is, and why is he driving on the opposite side? I mean, these are narrow dirt roads, but I still would never drive on the opposite side, especially because you can't see coming around a corner. I mean, it's just common knowledge. You would never drive even in the middle. You would stay on your side of the dirt road, even if it's narrow, because that's how accidents happen, especially if you grew up around dirt roads. This dude did. It's, to me, it looks like he fell asleep maybe. Woke up, grabbed the wheel. Oh, shit. Boom. Could have also 100% been a deer. Shit, while they were filming the news report earlier, deer were walking across.
At least this is where they went. I don't know, these are the track marks, and you can go down here and you can see where the car went off. You can see the wheels and hit down here by this tree and fence. And Jason walked this way towards Luling or whoever.
Hold on, was that a second pair of?
And Jason walked this way towards Luling or whoever. God, please be with
you. Go back again.
And Jason walked this.
Yeah. What was that?
This tree and fence. And Jason walked.
You see those two also coinciding with that? Hold up. Wait, what, dude? Let me make sure this is on the top quality set. This is weird. Do you guys see this? I'm going to make it go really slow. I'm sorry. I actually think this is kind of important. I never noticed this before. Let's do 75.
And Jason walked this way.
Yep. One more time.
And Jason.
Yeah. Look at those. Perfectly parallel. I'm going to take a screenshot of this. This is weird. The fuck is this? They're like, the other set is a little more faded, yeah. But like in the exact spot? I don't know. This is weird. Okay. Let me just save that. This is weird. Why? Do you see how quickly that fucking turn is? Why are these going parallel? Was he trying to go around someone? Was that someone trying to run him off the road? Is that why he was all the way over there? That's fucking weird. I mean, I'm not seeing things, right? Hold on. Let me slow it down even more because I'm tripping out right now. I've watched this footage a lot.
Here by this.
And I always find new things every time. Some of them are big. I'm like, oh, I can't believe I fucking missed that. Like the sweat under his pits. I remember seeing that before, but not putting two and two together.
Tree and fence. And Jason.
Boom, dude. Look at that, dude. That's another car trying, like, look at it exactly parallel. That's trying to run someone off the road. Right? I mean, either fucking direction. If it was coming this way, if this is north down here, then this would be maybe him trying to go around a car that's going too slow. That's another big thing in Texas. It's kind of an issue. Like, if you're going too slow and it's got a do not pass sign, people get fucking mad. If you're taking up the whole road and they want to go around you on a dirt road, they will honk. They'll put their lights. They'll wave a gun. People get crazy. What the fuck are these tracks? Because, like, also if this were the police, then why is it so sharp and crazy? You know what I mean? This is weird. I'm going to go back a little more and start it at normal speed. But that's 2 pairs of tracks.
I'm about, I don't know, 20 feet ahead. You couldn't really see him. This is his flip-flops. This is his t-shirt. You can see where at least this is where they went. I don't know, these are the track marks, and you can go down here and you can see where the car went off. You see the wheels and hit down here by this tree and fence. And Jason walked this way towards Luling or whoever. God, please be with him. This is where I found Jason's stuff. Right, right there, right where those rocks in the road are, about 30 feet. This is his toiletry bag for when he came home with his two.
So, Nicole, it was like the car was wrecked, and then a couple of steps up, his chones were on the ground with some blood on them. A couple more steps, his shoes. A couple of more steps, a fish in a bag, in a cup. A cup also that smelled like alcohol. An Xbox just laying over on the side. I think it was an Xbox or PlayStation, some video gaming console. His toiletry bag, his backpack. His backpack had weed in it, which the cops called narcotics. This was all over about 200 feet, just kind of sprawled out. His shirt, his pants, his shoe, all of it. His wallet, just in the road.
Toothpaste and shaving cream, and that's his drink cup. And the car ran off the road right around this curve.
Yeah, Nicole, that's what I was wondering, is if this was busting a Yui and failing, but then there's that double pair of tracks. That was weird.
You can see that where you go in, that's an oil field thing. And then right around that curve, about 50 feet past that, you can see where it ran off the road. So this is...
Yeah, he had a cup that had you know how there's those bags you get at pet stores and they put the fish in it? That was inside a cup. And then I believe there's another cup that had an old, like, White Claw or something in it.
I don't think 200, I don't think it's maybe a football field, maybe a little bit more, where I found his stuff, his clothes lying in the road. Oh, God, be with him.
So this is a FaceTime that he made. There's no sound on it. It's just him talking. But his friend is talking about how he was talking about his third eye and stuff. There is some video we can watch. Probably when we do part 3, we're going to watch Jason's videos. On this one, I mainly wanted to focus on the area and that specific body cam. One going a little bit up. That's my own fucking video. I don't know how that happened. We're gonna get into a loophole here. Okay, hold on one second. Because next I want to show you something. Let me take this down. And then I gotta wrap up and go. But here we go. I'm gonna show you a little more on this real quick. Okay, so I believe, is this one of these? Oh, God, quit yelling at me, dude. Let me find it. There are, where is it? Where is it? Hold on one second. I wanted to show you his Snapchats, at least like one of them where he's talking. It's right before. Oh, shit. Sorry, I just saw the thing about the rug in that lady's yard. That was so crazy. Here we go. This is actually a pretty good report. It's short, but it's pretty good. And it shows you a little more of the area from a different perspective. And I don't think the Snapchat is in this, but it's still a good report because you can really see this area and how wide it is. Here we go. Let's go to this.
Out here where the crash happened, you can take a look and see there are still tire marks leading all the way over here to this tree that Jason hit. Now, the question that everyone is still asking
Yeah, no, he had a fish.
is what happened after that? The search is on after authorities found Jason's wallet and phone in his abandoned car.
I guess some people have asked, could it be possible he could be hiding or scared because he wrecked the car?
His dad paces back and forth just outside of the search site, waiting, wanting Jason to know everything is going to be okay. Several agencies and even locals like Stuart Carter have been looking for Jason.
It's thousands of acres, and today I'm searching close to the roads as possible.
Do you have any idea where he might be out here?
I think he's trying to go, he's heading for help, and he might have lost energy. And
we're still concentrating on some areas such as the creeks and the water, but right now we still haven't found him.
Sergeant Dion Cockrell with the Texas Department of Safety says they are being thorough.
Video, cameras, whatever we can use to scour the area.
As Jason's family waits, his dad has a message for his son.
We just want you home. Nothing else. Nothing else matters. I love you, son.
Yeah, they aren't. I'm actually going to let this one play.
This is not the first time they searched this area. This is actually the 8th time. And they keep searching this area because this is the last known place Jason was found, and they believe he could still be here.
We believe that Jason Landry is still somewhere here. He just hasn't been discovered yet.
The Caldwell County Sheriff's Office called Texas Search and Rescue back to missing person Jason Landry's last known location to search again.
We're looking for evidence. Specifically, we're looking for human remains, most likely bones.
Jason's father, Kent Landry, says it's been a rough past 10 months without his son, but he knows whatever happened, God is watching over Jason.
We know that no matter what happens, if in an hour from now they find Jason's body, well, he's in heaven. Nothing has changed for eternity. Nothing. So I'm still going to see him. I'm still going to spend all eternity with him in heaven. And that's what keeps you going.
Jason Landry went missing on December 13th, 2020, while on his drive from San Marcos back to his home in Houston for Christmas break. A volunteer firefighter found Jason's car crashed and abandoned near this field close to Luling, according to the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office. His clothes were also found scattered around the road. 10 months later, 50 trained and certified volunteers from Texar returned to the area to look for Jason, this time with more data under their belt and 86 points of interest to look into.
Our last big search in February resulted in over 36,000 different images from the drones, aside from the thousands of miles we've covered on ground. So in the past month since that search, we've been combing through those images using the software and AI there to find those points of interest, anomalies, and things that needed further follow-up.
Several teams searched, including drone, mountain, ground searcher, and canine teams.
Well, they're amazing. I mean, I wish every state could have a Texar.
As the volunteers searched for his son, Kent caught himself reflecting back on his time with Jason. He hopes no other family has to deal with the pain his is dealing with right now, and encourages others to enjoy the little things.
I would encourage any parent, spend more time with your kids, spend more time with your families.
I believe that the news has reported that while the warrant did come back, the police aren't really sharing anything regarding that yet. So we'll wait and see.
For where I stand, I'm so thankful for all the years and all the memories that I have with Jason, because I may not get any more.
If you have any information on this case or where Jason could be, you are asked to call the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office. Reporting near Luling, Amanda Ruiz, Fox 7 Austin News.
All right. And Samantha Tapp is.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Marnie Hughes, and this is Missing on.
That is a crazy case. We're going to have to talk about Samantha at a later date. But listen, thank you guys for joining me. I think that that's going to be it for part 2 on Jason today. I mainly wanted to focus on the area, what happened that night, what we know, how far we've come in the investigation, like as a whole. And by we, I mean Texas in general, whoever's working on it, Texas Rangers. As you can see, they've used AI, drones, geofencing. They've done everything you can imagine. This did happen at the height of COVID, which is spooky dooky because, you know, there weren't a lot of people going out in public. So the chances of sighting him were not really as great as had it been another time. And also it was Christmas break. So a lot of people were traveling back home from college. He could have fucking had COVID with the way he was sweating, but also he was talking about his third eye and shit. He could have been on, you know, some sort of hallucinogens. There was a lot going on in this case. It's tough because part of me wants to say it's the obvious. He's going to be out in that area somewhere, but 50 miles with such thorough searching and nothing. They're really, I mean, you see the cows grazing, right? That means that the chances of wild hogs being there are slim to nil, specifically because, you know, otherwise the cows would be dead too, probably. Where the fuck is this kid? I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the rumors. I want to talk about what can still be done. I want to talk about what else was going on in the town at that time. And I want to show you some of the different groups that have assembled online and on foot, IRL, to look for Jason. I personally think that the way he's going to be found is somebody stumbling upon the remains, perhaps working the area, farming the land, tilling, plowing, whatever it may be, and or a bird dog or hunting dog returning with a bone, or a cadaver dog during a search. If he is alive and in somewhat sort of a fugue state and pops up in Mexico, kind of also wouldn't be surprised. This is a weird one because it seems so obvious, but if it was so obvious, why is it taking this long? There's nobody prohibiting them from searching their property. Geofencing would likely narrow it down, and I'm sure if it did and it had any outliers in it, we would have at least a suspect. There's so much more to this case that parallels cases that we've mentioned here: Riley Strain, Maura Murray, Brandon Lawson, fucking a bunch of them. Daniel Robinson. There's so many. So we're going to be going back over this. We're going to do part 3 and probably a part 4, maybe part 5. I think that there should be a lot more awareness being spread about his case. I feel like if people would have responded to it the way they responded, maybe to Riley's case at first, it would be different. I think they O'Keefe'd the fuck out of it. They did a horrible job at that crime scene. No parent should have to find the evidence of their child's missing persons case in the street, abandoned and just left. I mean, if anything, what a piss poor job on the officer. He takes the bag with the drugs in it, but he leaves everything else, even the victim's shoes. Horrible. Fucking disgusting. So we're going to talk about all the other stuff next time I see you guys. We're probably going to be talking about, like, what was going on in the town around that time, dynamics, personal relationships, and rumors. And we're going to debunk some of those rumors. And we're also going to talk about more technical crime scene evidence that, not necessarily procedure, how it could have, would have, should have been, but more like what can be drawn from what is there and legally what can be used in court to either sue the police or to help the family. Specifically, we're going to focus on trying to look at some maybe OSINT possibilities. What else can be done to help find him? Infrared technology via drone, we'll talk about it. How are they using AI in this? He briefly touched on it. We'll talk about that. But yeah, I think that this is a weird case. I wanted to continue it today in the day with you guys because it's kind of important to me. It's up the road. It's in the county where my roommate grew up, who went missing, Carl Wiegand. He went missing in Mexico, though. Caldwell's a weird county, and it makes me sad when I see dads cry. I saw that dad cry the other day, and I went, by God, this case is, I thought maybe it was getting the coverage it deserved, but as I did more research, I realized it did not get as much as I thought. It was more centralized, more localized. I wish it would go national, and I wish people would put pressure on this department to do better. I feel like they got their ass in gear a little too late, but the fact that they still haven't found anything and that some of the language has changed when they give statements makes me wonder if they know something they're not telling us and why not. And what the fuck's going on? Why are they dragging ass? It's very weird. But anyway, thank you guys so much for showing up today. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to go find out what was in that bitch's yard on TikTok. I'm going to go back to Brandy's channel. I don't know if she's still doing it, but oh my God. We are going to be doing some more stuff hopefully soon with your Aunt Deborah, the whore with her flute. Yeah, you did. Where have you been, Fluffy Bunny? Nice to see you, Fluffy Bunny. It's making me so mad sometimes, I know, but especially the shitty ones. Hello, Fluffy, says Nicole. We got to talk about Wayne. Got to talk about Uncle Wayne. We're talking about Mafue. I still am obsessed with that. I'm just like totally shocked about this case. Something's going on here. It's so weird how many people get into car accidents and then wander off, and then there's just nothing, but it's a very obvious like range that they could go to. So it's like, what are we missing here? With Mora, there is the potential of somebody like wanting to take advantage of a young girl, right? But with a naked dude in the middle of South Central Texas, it's just strange. It's just very strange. It trips me out. Anyway, we're going to talk more about Jason Landry. We're going to keep that one going for a while. Maybe I can get a hold of his dad. Maybe I can hold off swearing long enough to talk to Mr. Pastor Man. Because I have a lot of questions, and I think it's really awesome that so many different organizations have got involved. I am obsessed with that. You talk about Carl, my old roommate. Trust me, darling, you don't want to get into that one. That one is being handled by the FBI because it might involve some nefarious types in Mexico that we don't talk about on this channel. I was thinking about you the other day, Daisy Live Love. How are you doing? Are you living? Are you loving? Does your husband mind that you're fucking laughing? That you're loving? Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I am also not impressed with that sheriff at all. And I highly recommend watching the second half, like the last hour and a half of last night's live to get part 1 of the Jason Landry. I will probably be chopping them up and putting them together for a separate video to include with these lives. Thank you to, I got to buy me a coffee earlier, and I have to let me say thank you, but I need to read it off my phone. I'm so tired. I'm not used to being up in the day. This is weird. Thank you, Jim and Janice, for your coffees. I appreciate you. I will go buy a coffee now because I fucking need it. I appreciate anybody who donates, clicks like, subscribes. I also appreciate when you click don't like and give me constructive feedback. And I appreciate it just that you're here viewing. Thank you so much. You are the best. I love you kids to death. I gotta go. I gotta go get coffee. That's so fucking tired. But I do have a list of resources for the Jason Landry case, and I made you guys a playlist of all of these in the Bodycam so that you can check it out on your own, including a link to a map where you can see where he was last pinged, where the car was found, and his first and final attempted destination on the trip home. So you have a good one. All of you be good, do nice things. The Hugin blesses you. Love ya. Good day.